Hey folks, I wanted to take a stab at my first recorded for YouTube content. I've been wanting to do something somewhat of like a tips and tricks video just because there's a lot of new people, it's the beginning of a cycle, and I feel like there's always just a bunch of little things that I kind of take for granted as things that I feel like everybody knows, but the more I talk to folks, I realize they don't know. So I figured going through like a video where I just kind of go over some like really kind of basic things that make my life useful, that will probably make your life useful, just things that are like, you know, they add a lot to your perfect team experience, but are just like sometimes either a little hidden or just not something obvious. So the first thing I wanted to go over, because I know this is something that impacts people a lot, and I know that because I feel like I'm the one usually helping people troubleshoot things on Discord, is whenever you have a bug with your game, the big first two things you should do is, I guess, come into this settings page, and then there's two things you should do from here. The first one is go to this reset, this troubleshooting drop down, and click reset caches. So this will help with things like mismatched pictures, other things, kind of loading old versions of stuff like that. A lot of this just has to do with the fact that there's things on the server that are different than things that are held locally. Some files are cached, and it kind of sometimes doesn't load the right things. So this should usually clear things up. If it doesn't, it's usually a server end issue. And that does happen sometimes. Live cards will have the wrong pictures, but especially on like a live update day, this is something that will probably help with that. The other big thing is clicking this delete old PT League and tournament files button. So basically, every time you enter a new league or a tournament, um, it will save some files to to uh, to your folder, and logos, other things you download, and these don't go away, and they add up over time. So like if you don't do this after months and months and months, you'll have gigs and gigs and gigs of space that is just like being held from like old tournaments and stuff like that. The other thing where this can cause issues is just due to the nature of there being a lot of save files. Sometimes the game will just pull the wrong pull the wrong file. So like there'll be a mismatch between the file that's pulled locally and the server, and that will cause issues. I know this is usually the biggest issue when there's like a roster mismatch or something like that. So definitely after you do a restart, if there's still an issue, these two things are the first two major things you should do to try and fix an issue. Um, uh, the next section of this video that I wanted to do is stuff from this universe tab. So this universe tab has a lot of very useful things, and I feel like a lot of folks don't come in here all the time. So the first big thing is, in this league and rules section, you can see the entire pyramid of leagues. On the left column, it has all the promotions and demotions, though we know that is due to change due to the nature of it being a little bit more flexible this year. But the other thing is you can click on any of these leagues and pick and that will pull up a like leaderboard and standings of everyone in the league. This doesn't have to be your league, it could be any league. This is super useful if you're like out of town and don't have OTB Go or something. Out of town, maybe you want to send someone like the link so they can access things and they can tell you how things are doing. It will have the playoff results down here. It's also useful um, if you want to like see how Perfect League is going and the different teams. This section is actually really interesting with the team totals. I'll probably talk about this another time soon. I don't think we're gonna go into too deeply today, but every league has basically the same totals, which um, I'll let you guys think about what that means. But it is really important in terms of how normalization works. But there's leaders, and again, you could do this, go into any league and check that out. Um, so that's something that I find often interesting. The other thing in this tab that is very interesting is this managers and rankings area. So from here, you can sort by things like, score, tournaments won, completed missions. So you can see how many people have completed all the missions. You can see how many people, what the who's leading in overall cycle tournaments won. As you can see, I'm tied for third, which is only part of the reason I wanted to show this. You could also like go into managers in your league and sort by team score, so you could see which teams in your league are, maybe tougher than others if you are new and don't really know which teams are the regulars. But there's a lot of cool things in here. You could, look by level, a bunch of other stuff. There's a lot of fun things you could do in here. Similarly, this team and playoff records tab is also extremely fun. Less fun at this point in the year because we haven't had that many things, but you could like search by any player or team statistic to see if you are close to anyone in records. Searching by team pitching wins gets you sort of an overall picture, like if you want to see if you're hitting any win records. So like for here, you can see that the most wins someone had last weekend, or last week, because that's the only week we've had so far in high silver, was 121 wins. So this is just another kind of fun place where you kind of see, what records are if you feel like you're doing very well in a league in a certain year. So then the last kind of section goes over some card shop and variant stuff. So this tab here, it's hard to know that there's a tab, but it goes between current roster and latest content dropped. What's super useful about this is I know people are always asking, are cards live? Are cards live? When you have this latest content drops tab up, if you go into card shop and click this reload card list from server button, that will update this. So, on Thursdays after when cards drop, you can kind of sit refreshing, and you know that once these cards are here, things are in packs, and you could open your packs. The other things, just to talk about some really basic things in terms of the card shop and selling cards and the card management screen is, so the card management screen is the thing I use the most. You could do so many things from here. You could add different columns, you could add filters, but this is where I usually do a lot of my card selling, a lot of my team building, a lot of my variant stuff. So just to go over a few of the things that I do here, the biggest thing that I say that is just such a way to speed up time is that when you go and you right click a card and you click create sell order, if you click the tab button 3 times, it goes directly into this enter price spot. From there, you can type in your price, and then if you press enter, it immediately goes. You don't have to use your cursor at all. It gets really quick. Like as you can see, I'm just like, 125, boom. Like tab, 125, boom. So it's an easy way to sell very quickly. It's awesome. That's one of those things that, every time I tell people, like, whoa, you could do that? Yeah, the 3 tabs method is a big one. Something else that I know people often bring up is like, oh, why is someone selling a card, at 1,001? Isn't the tax going to put you below? No, you will never get taxed below the quick sell price. You won't be getting anything extra if you sell between, 1,001 and 1,111, but, you're helping someone else out. So, your mileage may vary if you decide to do that or not. But I'm perfectly fine with doing that. Just to let people know, because I know people often don't realize that the tax will not put you below that. The other thing is that if you put like a minimum price, so like, I just did 6 perfect points, so we can see the buy order is 100. If you do something, it will immediately sell for the highest buy order price. So, you don't have to type in what the buy order price is to sell it. Just put the lowest price you can. It will immediately go to the highest buy order price. So then the other thing, to get into variants, because I know a lot of people were, struggling with combinators last year and variants this year and be like, oh, well, if you do this, it's so much clicking. I don't know what cards are the right ones. It's so much work. It's so much effort. I don't want to do this. Well, I'm here to kind of show you that it really isn't that bad. So the first big thing to know to do is I actually rarely use this screen to add cards to combination attempts. So right now, there is a default view, but you can make another view. If you go to this missions view, it will add this extra box here where you could then have a drop down on whichever variant you want. So this shows up in any view, and we can show, like, if you click, you know, um, if you this basically happens in any view that has the column, um, where is it, PT variant relation. So if you go, you right click on a column, you click add columns, you go to PT info, you check this PT variant uh, uh, relation tab. That will make this drop down show up on any view that that you want it to. So then from here, once you select a card, if you sort by uh, by variant relation, you can see how many points cards in your inventory have, which is super useful because then you can look according to their L10 value. So then you could do something like make a filter where you're like, okay, so I only want a card that has at least 30 variant points, but also costs, let's say under 200, 200 L10. So you do this, at least for this one, I don't have any dupes for there. But like for this one, you can see I have all these dupes that are 100. So then from there, it's like, okay, well, I'm comfortable with the value here. You could just tag all, right click, tag to variant boost, and then you could drag to whichever variant you want to add to. So this is a way so you're not clicking a million cards. Of course, once you add, you have to go in and see what the percentage is. But definitely a way to save a lot of time in terms of clicking. Um, the other thing is, if you're trying to find cards to feed to your variants in the shop, you still have this variant relations tab here. You put the one you want. You then go to the sort by. You go sort by variant relation, and then from here you could see any card that and what their points are. I usually go for like a 3-to-1 ratio. So like if we look, you can see James Edwards is selling for 113 perfect points. You get 100 variant points out of that, so that's a pretty good value. I would definitely buy, if I was leveling this one up, I would then buy as many copies as I can that are comfortable. Go back to that manage card screen, select the ones I did, right click, tag to the variant boost, and add to there. So that's just a very easy, convenient way of getting good value, seeing which ones are good. You could also right click and you could scroll through your list to see, oh, this is the one that's it leads is most valuable to. So you have to worry about maybe doing something suboptimally when you could be putting it to another card. I think that's it for today. There's a lot of other things I would like to talk about. Again, I wanted to start with something like this. I know some people have recommended doing some things in terms of roster building or I don't know. There's a lot of different options of kind of videos that we can do. Maybe something with live spec, things like that. But yeah, so I think we're going to stop this video here. Thanks everyone who has listened to this. Catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/cwitdcfc. And good luck in Perfect Team. Hope to see y'all in the tournaments, in Perfect League, PTCS, and everything else.